Hello everyone, welcome to today's current affairs session of Civilspedia. The topics we are going to see is Bali Fintech agenda, ease of doing business, and the index related to agriculture, the National Council on India's nutrition challenges, and with respect to editorial topics is malnutrition. First one, Bali Fintech agenda. This fintech is related with the technologies that are relating with the financial services, that is mobile banking, online banking, payment services, and cryptocurrencies, digital currencies, and all other payments with related to financial technologies that will come under this fintech. So the recent issue with respect to this Bali Fintech agenda is the recent annual meeting between this World Bank and IMF. They have come into an agenda of this Bali Fintech agenda. The reason for this crucial movement of this Bali Fintech agenda is this IMF managing director had told that around 1.7 million people of worldwide don't have the access to this banking, and right now this fourth industrial revolution has been taking place. That makes all and every people will be coming to this financial services with respect to this digital economy. That shows how much crucial this digital economy right now it is. So this policy, this agenda is main focusing on two things. One is what is the benefits, how to harness the benefits of this cryptocurrencies or digital economy, and as well as this agenda is facing this, what it's also addressing what are the risks that has been taken by, or what are the risks that has been facing by all the countries of the member countries of this IMF and World Bank with respect to this digital economy. Thereby addressing these two things of benefits as well as the risk of this digital economy, how the world member countries can achieve this sustainable development goal by 2030. So there are 12 policy elements has been framed by this agenda. The major among this is, first one is financial inclusion. So by having this more and more digital economy, we can have this financial inclusion. Thereby poor people can be get into this banking sector. And then with respect to the digital economy, they will get to exposure to much more advanced technologies also. The second important thing with respect to this Bali agenda is this competition. So promoting the more and more competition among the private players, thereby having the cheap rate of this processing fees for the consumers. So it will address the issues of the consumers also. Then third thing is with respect to this regulation, because right now all the countries are facing so much of pressure on this, how to regulate this cryptocurrencies. So all the digital economies having so much of a risk. So how to regulate this is the one of the crucial thing that all the countries are facing right now. Then fourth important thing with respect to this agenda is legal framework. How to address the legal framework to have the future dynamic nature of the business environment. So, and fifth last more thing of this agenda is this information sharing between the countries, because this digital economy makes the borderless transactions between all the countries very easily. So right now the economic crime has been happening with respect to without the border. So more and more things are happening without this border things. So if we started to share the information of the economical transaction, then only this economic crimes can be cut down. So for that we need to have a network of this economic transaction information. So for that, this agenda has said that it emphasizes the information sharing between the countries as well as the within countries, how to have a secure economic transaction details. And another important, these are the policy elements that has been addressed in this agenda. Apart from that, this agenda has been stressed the need of this central bank backed digital currency, because right now in the future, the digital currency is an inevitable one. So all the countries will have to face the crisis of this digital currencies. So at that time, how to handle this digital currency problems is the first and foremost thing. So for that, we cannot eliminate the central bank of each and every country. So how the central bank can play the role of regulator or facilitator of this digital currencies is the main objective of this Bali financial agenda. And another thing is the payment and settlement services. So the regulations of this payment and settlement system is the crucial thing that is happening with respect to India also, and at the global level also. So how to have, whether this RBI or any central bank can have the regulatory force of this payment and settlement system, or we need to have any independent regulator to have this payment and settlement system is the pressing economic issue of India. And this Bali agenda is also focusing on this payment and settlement systems. And apart from that, to have more and more financial inclusion and to reap all of the benefits of this digital economy, we have to bridge the digital divide between the gender, between the regions, and between the states also. So that only we can get the full benefits to reach all other peoples of the India. And second topic with respect to this ease of doing business index. So the recent news with respect to this ease of doing business index is India has historically jumped a 23 rank from 100 to 77th rank in this ease of doing business. That shows that India is performing very well with respect to this ease of doing a business, thereby promoting more and more entrepreneurship and more facilitable environment for this doing a business in India. So what are the things, the indicators that has been performed very well by India, and what are the issues that has been happened with India is the thing we have to notice about this ease of doing business. So first thing is this ease of doing business has 10 indicators to address this, how the business can be started and run within India. So among the 10 indicators, India has performed very well with respect to these two indicators, that is construction permits and this cross-border trade. These two things has been India performed very well. Because of that only this much of historic jump of 100th rank to 77th rank happened by India. And this cross-border trade shows that India nowadays has very much positive level in this export management. And another thing, what is moderately performed by India is with respect to starting a business and getting a credit. These two things are positive approach of this India. And what are the most negative things that India has been taken in with respect to this ease of doing businesses? First one is registering property. Even though we have so much of new laws, that is a real estate regulating authority law and so many other things happening with respect to this property registering, but still India is performing very worst in case of this registering the property. And another thing is with respect to this registering property, in India it takes almost 60 days to register a property, while New Zealand takes only 1 day to register a property. That shows the huge difference between most developed countries and the problems faced by India. And another thing is this resolving insolvencies. It takes a huge amount of time for India to resolve this insolvencies issues. So even though we are taking so many of steps with respect to this insolvency law, still India is lagging behind so many countries with respect to this insolvencies. This is the worst performing indicators of this India with respect to this ease of doing business. Another thing is moderately it has been stepped down in protecting this minority interest and as well as this paying taxes. Apart from that, what is the other picture of this ease of doing business trying to portray of India is this is not focusing on all the firms of this India, because the samples that has been taken for this ease of doing business is from Mumbai and Delhi only, and that too from the mid-sized firms only. So the things, it is not clearly portray the whole picture of India, because within the states itself there were so many variations with respect to starting a business. So this one index will not portray the whole picture of India. So what we have to do is more and more we have to concentrate on within the India level how the ease of doing business is impacting. So first thing is this is not focusing on this individual firms as well as this partnered firms, because this is focusing, this ease of doing business is taking the samples only from the mid-sized firms. So these were left around, and also it is focusing only on Mumbai and Delhi. So what about the tier 2 and tier 3 cities and towns? So how the business environment is happening, that tier 2 and tier 3 cities will not be get into the picture of this 77th rank of India. That shows we need to have more and more steps to take on how this tier 2, tier 3 cities and how the business in the other than the small firms in the individual entrepreneurship, how it is going on, we have to understand this. And apart from the other indexes, that was this agriculture marketing and farm friendly reforms index. This index has been started by Niti Aayog. The major objective of this index is this agriculture is a state subject, and the central government is financing more and more for this agriculture through the centrally sponsored scheme as well as centrally sector scheme. But whether this funding is properly going to a state and properly utilized by the state is the big question mark. So that only Niti Aayog has framed this index 2 years back. And with respect to the three key areas that is this index is focusing is, first one is this market reforms. This index is focusing how the agriculture market, that is APMC market, has been replaced by ENAM, how it is performing, and each and every state how it is taking steps to have this integrated national agriculture market. And second thing is the most pressing need of this agriculture is this land reforms. So the land lease reforms, how it is happening, that is the second key area that is this index is focusing. And third thing is this forestry on this private land, that is felling and transit of the trees. So how the forestry is promoted in the private lands is the third key area that is this index is focusing. So this index ranges from the score of 0 to 100. The 0 indicates there is no reforms and the 100 indicates there is a complete reforms. And this year Telangana tops in this index. And apart from that, recently the Ministry of Agriculture has announced to have one more index, that is ease of doing agribusiness index. So what is the main reason of this agriculture ministry launching this index is to have the analyze the performance of a state, so that the ministry will give the flexible funding for the states. So which state is performing very well, that state will get a more funding from this agriculture ministry. So the main key parameters that has been taken to analyze this index is these are the parameters. First one is the marketing reforms that will get the 25% of weightage. And another thing is this governance and land reforms. These two, marketing reforms and the governance reforms, almost take a 45% of this weightage. That shows this agriculture business index will show how the governance as well as the market is playing a crucial role. And apart from that, this reducing the input cost of the agriculture takes the 20% of weightage. And then the risk mitigation, that is the insurance coverage, will take the 15% of weightage. As well as this increasing the productivity of the agriculture takes 10%, and the investment in the agriculture will take the 10% weightage. This index is going to be launched in the next year by the Agriculture Ministry. And the next topic is the National Council on India's Nutrition Challenges. So this council has been recently conducted the third meeting, and this was under the chairmanship of Niti Aayog. They will send a report of what are the things that has been conducted by this council for every 6 months to the Prime Minister. So this council has been started as a part of this Poshan Abhiyan, which is focusing on the nutrition challenges of the India. So this Poshan Abhiyan is focused particularly on this undernutrition, anemia and diarrhea problem of this India facing. And recently India has been the member of this World Health Assembly in 2012. So by having this kind of approach, we can achieve the targets by 2025. And apart from that, what are the issues that has been faced by India is, first one is the hidden hunger, that is micronutrition deficiencies faced by Indian people. And second thing, that is the nutrition challenge, is malnutrition. This malnutrition consists of not only this undernutrition as well as the overnutrition. That is, obesity is also a problem of malnutrition, as well as the child stunting and child wasting is also the problem of undernutrition. So these both are things that has to be properly addressed under this Niti Aayog, this initiative of the National Council on Nutrition Challenges. And apart from this, what is the key factors that is why India is facing this kind of a higher amount of malnutrition and undernutrition problem is, apart from this poverty, we have very low knowledge on the dietary things, especially the lactating and pregnant mother doesn't have much knowledge about this dietary things. That hurdles the India's children growth. This children is going to be the next pillar of the India. So while the child itself don't get the proper nutrition, then the future citizen of India will also don't get the proper nutrition. That is the things why we are performing very worst in this global level hunger index also. And apart from the dietary things, this poor sanitation is going to cost India at a much economical level. And it also hampers this productivity of the Indian citizens, thereby reducing our India in all the economic aspects as well as in the political and social aspects. Apart from that, the last important thing why India is facing the nutrition challenges, the lower social status of these women. So women does not have this proper status within the family. So even the pregnant women doesn't get the proper nutrition within the family. Even though there is a food is available, the women is not getting the proper need of the food. Another topic is malnutrition. What is the present status that is happening within the India is, the recent report shows that the stunted children of India accounts for 38.4%, while the global average is 22.9%. That shows India is performing very worst with respect to the stunted children. And we have targeted under this Poshan Abhiyan to have 25% to reduce this 38.4% of stunted children to 25% by 2022. And second thing is, what we have performed very worst with respect to this underweight children. So underweight children under the 5 age, India has have 35.7%, while the global average is 13.5%. That is huge difference. So India is very worst, even lower than the sub-Saharan countries with respect to this underweight things. So we have to focus and we have to target to reduce this 35.7% to 20.7% by 2022. These are the two things that is pressing India needs of this malnutrition challenges. Apart from that, the two myths that has been conducted by India under this report is, first and foremost thing is, the poverty is linked with the nutrition. We used to think like that. But the scenario is different, because the states which have more per capita income is not have that much of higher level of nutrition status. That shows that Chhattisgarh and Gujarat, they have a less per capita income than the Gujarat and Maharashtra, but they have the good nutrition status. That shows that even the high performing state, that is high per capita income status, is not performing very well with respect to this nutritional thing. And second myth of this with respect to this malnutrition is agriculture surplus related with this nutrition. We used to think that if a state has more and more surplus of agriculture food production, then there will be more good nutrition status. But that is not the truth. because the agriculture surplus states like Haryana does not perform very well when compared with this Odisha. That shows these two things shows that the thing we have to address with respect to this malnutrition is different. It is not like the myth of when they have a very much of amount and they have the higher amount of food production, then the nutrition problem will be solved. This is not the scenario. So the thing is, we need to have more on dietary knowledge and sanitation and all other social status things is the most crucial thing that is playing with respect to this malnutrition. And apart from that, what is the measures to tackle this malnutrition problem is? First and foremost thing is, we have to address this food intake. That is, the food intake index that shows that if a state has a more diversified food, then this malnutrition problem will be solved. Because this malnutrition includes this undernutrition, overnutrition, as well as this micronutrition deficiencies. So to handle this issue, we have to diversify the food basket. Instead of rice and wheat, we need to have more and more pulses and all other things inside the food basket. And Tamil Nadu is performing very well with respect to this diversified food. And second thing is, how to diversify this food intake within this ICDS will make our India to handle this malnutrition problem. As well as the recent initiative of this take-home rations for the children up to the 6 months to 3 years will make sure that we will get this under malnutrition problem will be solved. And third thing is, we need to have more and more targeted PDS so that the states or districts which is performing very worst with respect to malnutrition will get properly targeted public distribution system. And fourth thing is by regulating the food prices, because the pulses, if the price is so much of fluctuating, then the poor people will not get the proper supply of the pulses. So we need to have addressed this regulating the food prices. And another important thing is we have to increase this public spending on health, because until otherwise the public spending is not increased, the poor people cannot meet the nutritional needs of their own. So we need to have increased it, but the scenario is not happening like that. We have one of the low level of public spending on health. And another thing is pressing need of this malnutrition issue is Anganwadi centers, because they are the backbone of the rural India nutrition things. So by strengthening this Anganwadi centers only, we can address this rural India's nutritional challenges. And apart from this, supplying this folic acid tablets through this Anganwadi workers is one of the easiest way to handle this malnutrition problem. Apart from that, we recently have initiated this Poshan Ma Awards, that is giving the awards to the people who are to the Anganwadi workers who are performing very well. That shows that India is taking a good steps towards this addressing this malnutrition problem. But each and every state's malnutrition challenges is different. So we cannot have one size fitting all. So we need to have analyzed each and every state's needs and thereby giving the solution for that is the pressing need of this malnutrition challenge. With that, we will end today's current affairs session. Thank you. Have a nice day.